I have one more question. So I know my vibration based on what's manifesting around me and how I feel.
Yeah. I know my vibration. Those are really good words. I know my vibration, therefore I know my point of attraction. I know where I'm in the universe, and most important, I know where I am in relationship to my inner being.
So it seems to me,
Yeah.
until there is a thought where I meet a thought, that I don't truly know where my vibration is because it hasn't been manifested
Really?
or anything yet.
That's right. That's right. So good on physical experience. Doesn't that make the manifestation seem important?
Yes.
And is the thought a manifestation?
Yes.
Yeah. And can we call all that realization?
Yes.
And can we call realization creation?
Mm-hmm. But I get some weird, sick thoughts sometimes. And I go, my inner being must be in some sick place. So
let's talk about this. So your inner being is not in a sick place.
Right. We're having fun.
But what you are wanting more definition about is about what the receptive mode is. In other words, when you get into your vehicle, that's where Esther most often thinks of the receiver of her radio stations. The receiver, you can tune it to any broadcast channel, yes? You're in the receptive mode, whether you're listening to one station or another. You have set your receiver into the receptive mode of that.
Got it.
So there's the receptive mode of your inner being, and there is the receptive mode of trouble and torment. And so when something occurs to you, this is why your first statement to us is so important. I can tell by the way I feel and by the way it plays out what my true receptive mode was. So if you're in that high flying, in tune with pure positive energy mode, and it feels like exhilaration, it feels like passion, it feels like love, it feels like interest, it feels like clarity, it feels like sureness and certainty, it feels so good. And as it unfolds, it feels gooder and gooder and gooder and gooder and gooder. You recognize that, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you're overwhelmed, or if you're defensive, or if you're angry and you feel inspiration, Esther remembers many years ago, she and Jerry had been wandering around a parking lot. It was maybe the first month that they were together. And they'd been driving around a parking lot at the Sheraton Harbor Island in San Diego, looking for a place to park. And it was late at night. And they really wanted to find a place to park, and there just wasn't one. And they drove. Valley parking was closed, and they drove and they drove, and they had about 20 minutes invested in this. And there was a spot, and Esther's driving, and she went to nose in it, and a car that had already passed it is now backing up to it. And he gets out of his car and bangs on Esther's window and demands that this is his parking place. And Esther really felt like it was hers. She was there first. She was nosed in. She had parked the car, and he wanted her to back out. And he said, "Couldn't you see that I was about to reverse into that place? I had passed it, and I was going to reverse into it." Well, he had passed it a long time ago. So Esther backed out, and he pulled in, and Jerry and Esther went to bed after another 20 minutes of waiting for another parking place. And in the morning, when they got into the car to leave the parking place, Esther drove past where that car was, and it was still sitting there, but all four tires were flat. And Jerry looked at Esther and he said, "You didn't." Esther said, "I did."
Nice.
Felt really good too.
We want you to remember that before you came forth into this physical body, you were source energy consciousness. And even though you're in this body, still that point of view remains. That non-physical, pure positive energy, always up to speed with the furthest of that which we have all become version of you, exists. And when you tune to the frequency of who you really are, you feel really, 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 really good in the moment. You know those moments of clarity, insight? That's what that is. You know those moments of jubilance, those moments of exhilaration, that feeling of exhilaration that flows through you often. Those moments are the moments when somehow, some way, you've managed to focus in a way where you've stopped doing that thing you do, which holds you back from all that you are. And that's sort of a screwy way of explaining it to you, isn't it? When you no longer do that thing you do, then you'll be able to do that thing you really want to do, that thing you were doing before you came into this physical body, that thing you were born to do, that thing you always want to do. You want to do that thing you do, but you've got to stop doing that thing you do in order to do that thing you do. And the thing that we want you to no longer do, which sounds backwards and not really Abraham-like, that thing we want you to no longer do is to stop doing that thing that you do, which is fussing and worrying about things that you can't do anything about. We want you to give up control of the uncontrollable. And we would like you to accept that everything is uncontrollable when you are talking about manifestation. Those manifestations are uncontrollable to you because they are controlled by law of attraction. So when you decide that you're going to control circumstances and events, when you decide you're going to control your government or control anyone, oh, there's lots popping up on that one. When you decide that you're no longer going to try to control your children or your lover or your mother, your mother. When you decide that you're no longer going to control the government or TSA, especially them. Esther was getting a really friendly pat down yesterday. She knows exactly how it got activated, too. She has a new line. She thinks she can head it off. She's going to say from now on, just as it's about to begin, I've been really lonely lately. I'm so looking forward to this. When you decide that you're going to stop trying to control the uncontrollable, and instead you begin to control the thing, the one thing, the certain thing, the important thing, the only thing that matters, when you decide that you're going to control the way you feel, when you believe that in order to achieve a certain feeling, that you have to control a circumstance so that you can then have a feeling response to it, now you're in trouble because there are too many moving parts. But when you decide that you're going to control the only thing that matters and something that you absolutely can control, and that is the way you feel, when you decide that you're going to achieve emotional clarity, that you're going to reach for emotional manifestations. Now, we deliberately use the word manifestation because an emotion is a manifestation. And when you think about it, isn't everything you want because you think you will feel better in the having of it? Whether it's a material object or a relationship, whether it's the modifying or the molding of a circumstance and event, isn't everything that you want because you believe that in the having of it, that you will feel better?
We would like some help with money. Our negative thoughts about it.
That's done. Now what?
Okay. We would like some guidance in accepting our...
Wait. Why are we still talking about it?
Oh.
You ask, it's given. Is there anything else on your list?
Yes, this is something new. I think. Maybe it's not. Accepting our creations and further refining them.
That's done. What else?
Okay. Oh gosh, because you already answered the rest of the things in the other people. We've always had a feeling that we have been squelched
Well, don't do that.
We are more able to exist, that we are more able to exist given more gifts and been more fortunate, and at times I feel I have wasted it.
Well, stop thinking that.
Perhaps it's because my mother keeps reminding me of it so
Well,
often.
don't talk to her anymore.
I'm liking this. Okay, the last thing then, I guess, is we have met many people on the boat who would like to see whales, and we would like you to help us see them.
It's done. Now what?
I'm done.